Simon Ekin, teacher of courage. Thanks for tuning in. So I got a question from a client of mine, a guy called Andy. Andy, you're probably watching this, from Barcelona. Andy asked about my talks and what was the process that I went through when I did my talks. So in case you don't know, I've made a bit of a name for myself in being a one-man flash mob. So what that means is I approached random groups of strangers, and in an effort to overcome my fear and to train myself to be more courageous, I deliver these talks, and they're always pretty extraordinary, always nerve-wracking, even though I've done it in excess of 1,000 times. But what I want to talk about briefly in this time is as Andy said, what is it that goes through my body and my mind before I do these talks? And it's always fear. Without question, it's always fear. So, what's going to happen? Is this going to be the one where I get a psycho who reminds him of his evil brother, or I don't know, whatever. But all these completely irrational thoughts. If I really listened to them, I definitely wouldn't do anything. So, I've developed kind of rituals where breathing is always a good one. Breathing is about really just when we breathe, we're present. And so it comes to a point where I just got to stand up and step up and start speaking. And what I notice is it's never the right time. I haven't got quite the right script. It's not the right audience, but I do it anyway. And it's always miraculous. It's always an incredible journey. And it reminds me of the story of Leonardo da Vinci and Mona Lisa. We think about the Mona Lisa as being this perfect work of art, but actually it wasn't. And two things to share about that. One is that Leonardo da Vinci apparently never showed his painting in public because it was never perfect and it was never ready and it was never good enough. And so it only got shown, ironically enough, once he'd passed on. And then the other thing that happened was that someone took a shot at the Mona Lisa, and what they discovered was kind of layers and layers of iterations of the Mona Lisa. So I suppose it was something along the lines of, that's not perfect, I must try again. That's not perfect, I must try again. That's not perfect, I must try again. And I think perfection is really the enemy of progress. Perfection is the perceived notion of perfection is really the enemy of creativity, of art, of wonder, of adventure. So I'd like to challenge you to do something that is, just risky. Make a speech, write an article, write the first page of a book. I always say write the first page of a book because it's one of the hardest and most vulnerable things I think we can ever do. But I'd love to hear how you get on. I'd love to field any questions that you've got, and I'll certainly respond to it. But thank you for listening. And remember, it's never going to be perfect. The nearest to perfection we can ever get to is actually giving it a go. Simon Ekin, teacher of courage. Thanks for listening.